Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops 4 video. In this video, and basically what I've been doing over the last couple of days, is because we got such a big patch update, patch 1.04, the patch notes basically, changed a lot of the tactical rifles, all of the assault rifles, some of the SMGs, I think all of the sniper rifles, a lot of the LMGs, a lot of stuff was nerfed or buffed, and it's definitely in a very, very important patch update, by far the most important one we've got so far. So I want to talk a bit about, I've talked about the SMGs that have gotten buffed, I've talked about the AR nerfs and how I feel about them, or at least the Vapor, but I want to make this video on the ABR and how I feel about the ABR after the buff, because this gun was already really strong beforehand, and its mini buff, well, it's a pretty decent buff to this gun. But the fact that they nerfed its competitors, which, let's be honest, that you can't hide the fact that tactical rifles are great at medium to long range, and their competitors are going to be number one category that competes with them, assault rifles. And when all of the assault rifles get a nerf, you can't hide the fact that that's a buff in the tier list for the ABR. So I think this gun is an absolute monster after the patch. I don't think that it's the best gun in the game or anything like that, but I do think this is a very, very strong burst, and we're going to talk about all that in today's video. If you guys could, and by the way, check out my top 5 guns after the patch that they uploaded last night. If you want to get a sense of which guns got the biggest movements up and down on the tier list, check out that video. Drop a like on this thing. Let's go for 1,500 likes. That would be absolutely amazing. I do have my my next video is going to be a SOG 9mm class it up. So let me know if you guys are excited for that, and smash likes up on this video, and then I'll probably upload that one, before the morning time sometime. So the SOG 9mm class up will be coming up. Drop a like on this and subscribe if you guys are new, and let's talk about it now. So I briefly mentioned a little bit, but ABR. We've buffed the ABR to be more competitive with other tactical rifles, while stepping down its operator mod to keep it from becoming a crutch attachment. The Swordfish received some attachment adjustments as well. So the Swordfish ones were complete nerfs to the Swordfish while buffing the ABR, but they also hit it with some slight nerfs. So let's talk about the buff. The ABR 223, extended maximum damage range. Now this is huge, a part of this. I'll talk about that once I go through everything. Let's just talk about it right now. Extended damage range is huge. It's similar to the buffs that something like the Cordite or the MX9 got. And while the MX9, yeah, you do find it range a little bit, like I said in my Cordite video, I thought that change was kind of useless for the Cordite because that weapon is basically made all around close range fights. The ABR, on the other hand, is all made around long range fights. This gun, you do not want to be caught close range with this unless you have like double laser sight. And the fact that they extended the maximum damage range, what this means in reality in game is that usually you can get 2 to 3 burst kills with this weapon. 2 bursts if they're closer and you hit your shots, or the majority of your bursts. I think you have to hit like pretty much all of the bursts except maybe 1 or 2, one of each burst, or maybe something like that, because it does take a good amount of shots to kill. But basically before the update, it was always a 2 burst or a 3 burst kill, and you had to be deadly accurate and have that close range to get that 2 burst. Now after the update with the extended damage ranges, you get 2 burst kills at farther away. It's just a fact what they did with the extended damage range. You're gonna get 2 burst kills, or you're basically, what the fact is, you're gonna be doing more damage at specific ranges, which means it's going to take less bullets to kill, and taking less bullets to kill is such a big deal, because sure, if the Vapor takes 4 bullets instead of 5, that's a big deal. But if a gun takes the amount of bursts, if it takes 2 bursts instead of 3, it's such a big deal. And that's why I think the Auger with the 2-tap attachment that makes it be able to kill in 1 burst is so amazing. And the Pentaburst is good too, although it has received quite a few nerfs, or the Pentaburst and the Swordfish attachment. So basically, what I think is the ABR definitely moved up in tier slots. Because of that, you can expect a lot more 2 burst kills, but don't be afraid to shoot that 3rd burst. Repeater operator mod now takes longer to accelerate fire rate. The repeater operator mod is good, and I've always thought it's good. However, I haven't used it on the classed up because I really think that if you want to go with an operator mod tactical rifle class it up, it's going to be the Auger every single time, just because of how strong the 2-tap thing is. But anyway, the operator mod gets a nerf. That's fine as long as you don't use the operator mod, which isn't even that big of a deal, because the thing with operator mods and balancing around those is it takes 3 points out of your pick 10 system, 3 picks to even get the operator mod on. So after you put that on, you're basically screwed, Anyway, stock, they did a slight reduction in movement speed bonus. Now this sucked. When I saw this, I said, why are they doing these backhanded buffs where they buff the weapon but then they slightly nerf something? And it does make sense. If they had left stock the same way it was, and it's definitely noticeable in these changes. This gameplay here, of course, is after patch, and I am running stock, but you can see the strafe just isn't nearly as fast. And I thought that was one of the strengths of the ABR before, that stuck it up above the Swordfish and the Auger. Now, it still has an advantage because it still has stock available. It's just a slight reduction in movement speed. It is noticeable, but the fact that on the ARs, and what I was talking about earlier, is with the ARs, what they did is they did a slight reduction to ADS move speed for all assault rifles, and a slight reduction to ADS in transition speed for all assault rifles. So by nerfing all of that stuff on these assault rifles and only hitting it with a slight reduction on a specific attachment for the ABR, this is what I mean by this gun being moved up in the tier list. Next is Laser Sight and Laser Sight 2. They improved the hipfire accuracy. So there's definitely some more testing I could do with this weapon to see, would it even be worth running Laser Sight and Laser Sight 2? I mean, maybe in hardcore to get those 1-burst hip fires, but as far as core goes, you know, 2-burst hip firing versus someone that's probably going to have like a Maddox or a Spitfire or a Vapor, are you really going to be able to win that gunfight? Probably not. Probably only if they miss shots or you get the upper hand. You know, the first, you see them first and pull the trigger first. That's how a lot of gunfights will go. But this ABR is definitely very, very good. Now, because I still do run stock on this thing, and I still do think stock was very fun to use on this ABR, just because of the fact that, like the Auger, like the Swordfish, those guns, you're used to using them without stock, but specific guns like that, when stock is available, I'm gonna use it even if it's been nerfed. You'll see me using it on the Maddox, you'll see me using it on the Vapor, you see me using it on the stock. Is probably like one of my, before this COD, I would like never, like for the last couple of years, I would never use an assault rifle without stock. And when I moved to this game and saw, oh, ICR has no stock available, different guns don't have stock available, I think Rampart doesn't have it either, but of course they're replaced with Grip 1, Grip 2, High Caliber 1, High Caliber 2, super duper strong stuff. But you know, I was definitely, you know, mad at that. But this is one that you do have stock available, and that's what gives you that slight sort of advantage with this weapon. As far as other class, you know, what else I run on to class it up, honestly, with these tactical rifles, one of the main downsides, and it's not even that big of a downside, because the way I design my class it ups, I usually have one extra pick of my pick 10 system waiting. But basically, the design with the tactical rifles is the kind of bad part about it is with an ICR, with an Rampart, you can use the iron sights. With an SMG, you can use the iron sights or the default sight if you are comfortable with that. But with these guns, there is no default sight. The default sight is like this really zoomed in, or not even that zoomed in, but this like ACOG sight. And you'll know if you played with the tactical rifles, and that's why I pretty much always will replace that sight with either a red dot or an ELO, whatever is available. Just something that these guns honestly come down to, like holding down an objective and accuracy. This gun is something where you'll see, like on this gameplay, I stand in the middle of slums and I'm exposed. Like they can see me from multiple angles. Of course, there I get flashed and taken out, which does suck. And I believe I did have tac mask on as well. It's just crazy how much that stuff flashes you. I'll show the full class setup up on the screen. But yeah, I definitely do run the red dot or whatever makes it easier for you to hit your shots, because that's what this gun is. You're going to be standing in an area, you're going to be picking people off, and that's what you're going to be doing. So acoustic sensor is a major key to let you know when they're pulling up on you. It still works great. It's not as good as it was before patch, but it still does great. And then of course I run a red dot, I run a stock, and I believe my last attachment is a quick draw, just something to speed up this gun as well and give it another advantage, because like I said, the tactical rifles, they're two, or not the tactical rifles, the assault rifles, which are the major competitors other than the other two tactical rifles, because there's only 3 in total, but there's 5 ARs. So those are the major competition. And all of the ARs, they're basically moves, you know, ADS move speed was nerfed. This gun, it was nerfed as well with stock, but at least you have stock, which is an option above it. And their ADS in transition speed was nerfed as well. But if you slap on a quick draw and you have gung-ho, I think this class setup really, really does work out. And the main point of this video isn't to give my class setup, because the fact is with this weapon, I still think the strengths are the same as before, and I still run the same class setup as you'll see in my best class setup video. It's the same stuff. Red dot, you could swap out for ELO, it all depends on personal preference, and then stock, quick draw. And then the strength of this is that you get flak jacket, tac mask, gung-ho, dead silence, you know what I mean? So the class setup is the same, but the fact is that due to buffs for this weapon, and even due to a slight nerf on this, but bigger nerfs on other sort of weapons, and even if there weren't bigger nerfs, more widely nerfs, you know, guns, the fact like they hit all the ARs, gives this weapon an advantage. And it's not about anything with the class setup, it's not about changing the attachments. I still run the same attachments, the same perks, but this gun just should perform better in terms of gunfights at range, compared, and its mobility back and forth and ADSing compared to other assault rifles, and even other tactical rifles that don't have stock available. So, you know, the main point, if you want to see the whole class setup described and everything like that, check out my ABR be our class setup video. That wasn't the main point of this video. The point of this video is to stress the buffs and the nerfs to other weapons and how that affects the change in the meta, and also to reiterate how strong this class is. Drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.